Yo, welcome to Muse News Crypto. I am Nate Muse. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to talk about what you see on the screen here regarding Coinbase and their apology to Pepe and some of the allegations that they were making regarding the meme coin in general. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the market as a whole, meme coins as a whole. Talk a little bit about some stuff that's been going on with Coinbase, talking to the UAE. On top of that, eventually at the end of the video, we'll talk a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce coming down on the SEC and them just not being very happy with how the SEC has been handling the crypto market, as many people feel the exact same. So it's really cool to see sectors of the government back us up. All right, so now jumping in here, just going to show you a quick Bitcoin overview. This is the 15-minute, but you can see it broke below this neckline that I had drawn up as a pretty strong trending upward direction for Bitcoin. Healthy drop though, guys. It's really important to understand there's a lot of positive, a lot of negative news out there as well. And a lot of people are flooding into certain things going on with CPI data, and we had the inflation numbers not be as high as we thought they were going to be. So that was a fairly bullish day for Bitcoin just the other day. But all in all, I think Bitcoin is heading in the right direction. Personally, I think we'll continue to see a couple more dips before June when there's some bullish information coming out of Hong Kong. And when that does happen, I'm sure there will be some uprising, lots more retail buys. So we'll just kind of follow that as much as we can. As you guys know, Bitcoin goes up. Typically, a lot of things are going to follow. And so today, the market is in kind of the red at the moment. As you can see, we've got Bitcoin obviously in number one spot, XRP sitting at number 6, ADA sitting at number 7, Dogecoin holding strong at 8. Overall Bitcoin market cap looks like it's about $500 million at the moment. Overall crypto market cap, a little over $1 trillion. So overall, the market's doing pretty solid, and Memecoin season, I don't think has begun, but definitely Memecoin Mania, we can call it, has been starting with the whole Pepe popping off and Good Ginsler and some of the other coins that have been popping off. So speaking of which, we've got Pepe sitting in the number 3 spot for overall market cap for all meme coins, passing up Baby Doge, Floki, a couple other popular projects down here, Volt Inu, version 2. So yeah, it's definitely flipped all these projects, and it's sitting in that number 3 spot for all of meme coins via market cap. So pretty cool stuff. But moving on here is the Pepe chart. Pretty steadily declined since that all-time high that we saw over here just about a week ago. At that mark right there, it's been pretty steadily declining since then. So hopefully for those that are holding Pepe, we see a positive uptrend soon. But if not, guys, that's part of what meme coins are all about. One pops off, there's going to be 1,000 more to follow that are trying to recreate that explosiveness. All right, so be very careful. Speaking of which, though, yes, I am somebody that holds Pepe, but not somebody that's necessarily saying buy on any meme coins. We'll talk about that here in a moment, and what you should probably be doing prior to even thinking about getting into a meme coin, right? We'll talk about that here briefly. So Coinbase, they did get in a little bit of some hot water, knocking Pepe. It says here that there was essentially a newsletter that Coinbase released talking about how Pepe, the meme coin, is a hate symbol, an alt-right hate symbol, et cetera, et cetera. And they quickly walked back their statement. Their chief legal officer basically came out and said that he's very sorry. He says here that they screwed up. We're very sorry. Yesterday, we shared an overview of the Pepe meme coin to provide a fact-based picture of a trending topic. This did not provide the whole picture of the history of the meme coin, and we apologize to the community. All right, so they definitely were out there saying that, the whole Make America Great Again hat on the Pepe frog was some sort of alt-right, support, even though, there's not necessarily anything more to that. But they definitely called it a hate symbol, and that lit up the entire meme coin community and created this hashtag of delete Coinbase, and a lot of very big influencers are pushing that right now. So be on the watch for Pepe, guys. I mean, the community is very strong, as you guys probably already know, and that's usually a good indicator that it's not going to be a rug or anything like that. But definitely want to watch out for certain coins that are going to be following, right? So with that, back to this chart here, one that kind of stands out to me is this one, this Pope coin, Pepe Cash, there's Pepe the Frog. There's going to be hundreds of different coins out there that are trying to follow the madness and the increasing, and all the money that people are making off meme coins, trying to replicate that. So you want to be very careful on what projects you get into, and just make sure that the community around it is strong, that the people who are creating it, and that they're somebody that are actually a public figure of some kind, and not some random person that has no community or way to verify that the person's a good person, right? That's one of the biggest things I think that stands out about different meme coins, and why certain ones do well and are more successful than others. So definitely something to watch out for with PEPE, and a couple other good projects out there like Ben. We'll talk about that here in a moment, and some stuff that came up throughout the week with that. So moving on though, there is this article talking about meme coins. Whenever I bring meme coins up, I do talk about just being very careful of any rugs that are potentially going to happen. So just a couple that have happened just this year. The Wall Street Bets crew created their own coin, WSB here. Essentially, there was a security firm that found out that they rugged their community, which is never a good thing. $649,000 was rugged from their community. That's just one coin that this has already happened with this year to watch out for, and just make sure that you're not trying to get back into a project that's been proven to be a rug. All right. Another one is Yoda coin. We're not going to talk about these too much, just more or less wanted to point out for those of you that are just getting into the market to be aware of some of the things that are involved in crypto. Jugs is another one that also was a rug. And there's this fairly popular influencer, Titan, that is essentially going to be going to court and holding them accountable. All right. So pretty cool stuff there, that there are people with enough capital to actually hold these companies and these projects accountable that shouldn't even be around in the first place, right? Moving on though, some pretty cool information. You've got Ben Armstrong, Bitboy Crypto, one of the biggest influencers in crypto, who's brought a lot of people into crypto, and a lot of people don't like him, but me personally, if you're somebody that is being as transparent as you possibly can, you're employing people, you're making people's lives better, you're bringing people into crypto that otherwise weren't in crypto before. I mean, that's a pretty positive thing for the entire crypto community. So whether you hate him, whether you like him, he's doing good things for the community. And speaking of which, he did essentially push in an acquisition, right? So this gentleman here, ETH_Ben, is somebody that is a notable figure in the Twitter community. He had launched his own coin, Ben Coin, just a few weeks back, and it's doing very well. His name is Ben, and the coin is Ben, and the gentleman here, Ben Armstrong or Bitboy Crypto, is also named Ben, and he's taken up this project and kind of calling it his own after this acquisition occurs later in the week, it says here. So pretty positive stuff. Ben's got a couple of companies, Ben Armstrong does, that have been pretty successful, and so the fact that he's taken this over and pushing it is pretty cool, right? So moving on with that though, he did make a valid point here, talking about how a lot of people are considering Ben to be a rug, right? And he's saying here that it just shows how dumb and blinded by hate people are. I've been in this space for longer than 99% of crypto Twitter. I have a public company with 40 employees. I've made 2+ videos per day for over 5 years. And he's got a good point. He's not somebody that necessarily, being in the public as much as he is somebody that you would think would just rug his entire community or take all the money away from his community. For any of you guys that are new to the term rug, that's what that essentially means, is get a whole bunch of people to buy in and then pull out all of that liquidity from their own coin. So never a good thing, but I don't personally think that's what's happening with Ben here. I think it's a great community, personally, not financial advice on anything I talk about, but just some things that I've noticed over the last few weeks of kind of following along. Buddy of mine here, actually, Dev Alex, met him a few weeks back on Twitter, really good guy. He definitely points out that Bitboy is not a publicly traded company, or his companies aren't publicly traded. There's a difference between having an LLC and having a publicly traded company. And as Ben Armstrong replies here, it says, yeah, that's what people are going to know that, right? Fair enough. So it's just kind of funny. I wanted to mention that. But yeah, shout out to Dev Alex, definitely somebody to check out on Twitter and follow at at alex.eth is his handle. So speaking of Ben, we've said so many Ben names on this video. Brian Armstrong, not Ben Armstrong, Bitboy Crypto, but Brian Armstrong, CEO, founder of Coinbase. So you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. Yes, Coinbase is kind of getting fed up with the US and how they've been treating crypto, and Coinbase particularly on their regulations and threatening of taking them to court, et cetera, et cetera. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But yeah, Ben Brian Armstrong, excuse me, has visited the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, talking about potentially making their hub in the UAE and not the US anymore, based on all the scrutiny they've been receiving and them just kind of getting fed up with that, right? So that's not to say they haven't been cooperating, right? Here's a document that was released back in 2022 in July via Coinbase, sent over to this Miss Countryman, Vanessa Countryman of the SEC, basically breaking down an outline of regulations that would be beneficial for the entire market, or at least from their perspective. And this is a multi-page document that I'm not going to sit here and read through it all, but it's a pretty reasonable document talking about certain things that they would work on regarding regulation, and kind of being the one that spearheads the entire process with the SEC. And they get backstabbed, right? You guys probably heard it. It's the SEC essentially, after all this cooperation between Coinbase and the SEC, backstabs Coinbase, serves them with a Wells notice. Wells notice just being a basically intent to pursue trial, intent to pursue coming down on Coinbase. It's like a heads up, we're coming after you, basically. And they just got caught off guard, right? Coinbase is like, what the heck? We've been working with these people for a while. We've been cooperating. We've been doing more than probably any other crypto company out there has been doing. And they got the approval to trade their stock last year, right? The ticker is Coin. And it is just very confusing for Brian Armstrong. And so, yeah, I don't blame him. Potentially go to a country that is going to promote regulation in a positive way, that's not going to take away the anonymity from crypto, right? If there's a way to remain anonymous and still be some sort of regulation, I don't know, right? I think it could be a positive thing, but I don't believe that all sectors of the government agree with the SEC. And so on that note, we'll talk about one of the sectors of government that are essentially blasting the SEC on why they've been doing way too much, right? You saw a video, I'm sure, a couple weeks back that I shared about Republican House member, I believe he was, House representative member, that essentially blasted Gary Gensler in court, right? Or not in court, but while he was giving a testimony on his approach to the crypto market, and talking about how Gensler has no grounds to pursue certain situations that he's been trying to pursue, and that he should be held accountable, right? So that individual is not the only person in government that thinks about SEC and Gary Gensler's approach this way. There's tons of people that feel like he's doing the most and doing way too much, and just basically teeing up all these companies to be passed along to the courts and to be tried in court when there's really not much basis to go off of. So definitely want to see Gary Gensler out the door myself. But moving on here, Coinbase going on the offensive. I'm going to kind of play a quick video of Brian Armstrong responding to the Wells notice, and kind of why he felt like the U.S. was the place that he should be as far as the one of the leaders in the crypto industry being based in the U.S., right? I'm going to skip past it. I'm past where he talks a little bit about what got him into crypto, but essentially, yeah, in 2012, he was introduced to it and felt like it was a great way to get payments out there in the world. He had worked for Airbnb previously, and he noticed that there was an issue in terms of issuing payments to employees, also to people that are issuing their Airbnbs on the site, and finding a way to accept payment in a faster way. And so he thought of, well, maybe there's a way that I can start a company that could help with that, right? And that's where the basis of Coinbase kind of came from. So I'm going to go ahead and play this excerpt, and then we'll move on.
Meetups in San Francisco, and people were telling me, you shouldn't base it in the US, it's going to be too challenging. There's 50 state regulators and multiple federal regulators, and you should start it in Hong Kong or Singapore. And there was other firms that were starting at that time that did that. But I made the choice at that moment to start the company in the US, because I knew that even if it was more difficult, the US was a major market, there was respect for rule of law. The US was a financial hub, a technology hub. It was a place where I felt entrepreneurs could work in good faith with regulators to help define clear rules for new industries as they emerged. And so I was lucky enough to raise some venture capital money. The prototype on my laptop, nights and weekends, turned into a small company, and we went off to the races. 11 years later, fast forward, this strategy of proactively working with regulators in cases where it really wasn't clear what we should do because it was a new industry, we tried to do the right thing in the absence of clarity, and demonstrate good faith effort that would allow us to bring this technology in a safe and thoughtful way to hopefully 1 billion people someday. So here we are as a public company. I think we've made enormous strides, and I think the message I'd really like to leave with the commissioners and the SEC is that we're committed to working within the regulatory perimeter. We want to see a clear market structure for trading crypto securities. Not all crypto assets are securities. There's also crypto commodities. There's stable coins. There's crypto that's artwork. We're going to work with multiple regulators to make this industry safe and trusted. And a Wells notice at this stage, when there is not a clear rule book, is not constructive, and it's not good for America.
Spot on. I mean, they are, again, probably the #1 crypto company that's been working to push or cooperate, I should say, with the government as far as coming up with some kind of legislation, right? That's fair for everybody. And as you saw in that document, I mean, they've kind of gone above and beyond to try to outline some good ideas, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm with Coinbase on this one. I've not ever been a huge fan of Coinbase with the whole not your keys, not your crypto thing. Your crypto isn't necessarily your crypto when you're holding it on the Coinbase exchange, but I'm all for pushing in a positive light some kind of regulation with crypto that's not going to put the holders in jeopardy and take away any of the anonymity from those individuals, while not having a whole lot of regulation in place that allows the government too many hands in the cookie jar, right? So I think they're doing a great job at trying to push this. And so that Wells notice kind of came out of nowhere and caught them off guard. And that is really why they're looking to pursue other avenues or other areas to potentially base Coinbase out of. So hopefully we don't see that happen. That wouldn't be great for the US crypto market necessarily, but nothing's going to really stop crypto as a whole. So the US government, SEC particularly, is just kind of shooting themselves in the foot with their approach and how they're going about certain scenarios, because ultimately it's going to come back and affect them as well. So anyways, moving on here, though, it's not just me that thinks that. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce slams the SEC for their haphazard regulation efforts. And this article does go on to kind of explain here and quote, this regulatory chaos is by design, not happenstance. I mean, it's true. Anybody in the crypto market knows this, knows that there's really no basis to stand on. If you go back to Kraken just kind of threw in the towel. They put up the white flag, didn't want to deal with the SEC, and paid a $30 million settlement for some of the accusations that were coming from the SEC. And so, yeah, it's just not a great situation, but definitely something that hopefully will play in crypto's favor as different departments of the government start to hold the SEC a little bit more accountable. This is a petition for a writ of mandamus to the United States Security and Exchange Commission issued by the Chamber of Commerce, right? And there's a bunch of different officials on here that are involved in it that are going to continue to hopefully push this and create some kind of positive outlook or positive outcome for all this madness, right? Definitely violating certain policies that are within the government. The SEC is kind of acting as if they're higher than certain powers within the government, right? Another quote here, the SEC's actions are not just harmful policy, they're unlawful, and the consequences of the SEC's continued delay are severe for that reason as well. So I would probably be a little bit more careful, SEC, in terms of what you're doing and who you're coming after, because I think it is going to bite you in the ass. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching this video. Always staying up to date with my posts. I am on Twitter, pretty actively on Twitter. Same handle, Muse News Crypto. I also post a whole bunch of shorts on this channel as well. So if you want to check those out, I would appreciate that too. But as always, thank you for watching, and you have a great weekend.